The greatest magic of the land was reserved only for the Tungkol, the shaman king, he who ruled Palawan. For a long time his reign was mighty and the land was at peace. The indigenous people are called Palawan, and the islands are called Palawan. Once, only the Tungkol could have the 5 greatest magic among all shamans, till a dream changed all that. This is the story of that dream. Sumbang the Tungkol dreamt that his children will drown from a great deluge. Fearing for their lives, he breaks tradition and divides his magic between his children to save them. Tungkol Rampang has 5 children. He has 4 children with his first wife, Abeta, Puasan, the hunter, Lunig, she of the white skin, Sadya, the chanter, and his youngest child, Majiling, the innocent. With his second wife, Nalin, he has only 1 child, Buning, the fearful one. Puasan, the eldest, expects he will be the next Tungkol. His mother has trained him all his life to be the shaman king. He is the rightful heir. When the Tungkol announces to the tribe that he is not giving his great magic to one person, but to all his children, Puasan and his mother are greatly disappointed. Nalin, the Tungkol's second wife, also claims that her son, Buning, deserves to have some of his magic. Unknown to Nalin, her son has a great fear of his father's magic, specifically the control of the invisible giant, dog-like beast, the Dawn. Both sons compete for the greater magic in a test of wills. In this test they are covered by a cloth. This cloth will make them confront their greatest fear, as well as their heart's desire. Puasan fails the test. When he thinks he has won and takes off the cloth, he discovers it is only an illusion. He is given the seppuku banar, a blowgun with an extremely poisonous dart whose venom can wipe off a shipload of people. Buning, because of his great fear of the Dongon, also fails the test. He is given the Dua Kulambo, a spell that can separate the rain. Because of their failure, control over the Dongon, the mythical beast that protects the forest, is not given to anyone. The Tungkol does not give his 3 daughters much choice with their magic. In a land where bronze and copper skin tone is the status quo of female beauty, Lunig feels so ugly because of her albino white skin. She is unloved by the men of her tribe. The Tungkol bathes her on the fullest of moons and teaches her the parimanis, the spell of absolute beauty. Sadya, the chanter, who is loved by her people for her beautiful voice, is bathed in the running waters and is taught the Dua Bata Bata, the charm of eternal youth. To Majiling, his youngest daughter, he teaches a protective spell, the secret name of the stonefish. Rampang has dreamt she would die from its poison. On the day the sisters discover a dying young man named Jose, the Christian, in the lake where fresh and salt waters meet, they are equally smitten. They both heal him. In a competition for his love, the two older sisters use their magic. Which window a man flies his kite will be the woman he chooses and wishes to marry. Satya becomes beautiful by becoming younger, but Lunig's beauty is radiant and absolute. Jose chooses Lunig. Satya, in her shame and failure, uses magic to become a child forever, so all her people can love her once again. Majiling, the youngest daughter, does not like Rampang passing on his magic. Her grandfather died from the strain of this very same transference. Her opinion on the subject angers the Tungkol. He banishes her from the land. Majiling crosses the great sandbars that connect the Palawan Islands. Her feet are untouched by the deadly stonefish. The Tungkol dreams of a hawk. He knows it is a sign that what he did was apt and righteous and for the good of all. And like a hawk that flies where it is happy, he goes to the mountains of forgetting. There, he meets his father, Upu Ambo, the former Tungkol. Upu Ambo was feared dead after passing on his magic to Rampang. He is now seen to be alive. After some years, Lunig is Christianized by Jose. She is now called Iluminada. They have one child named Soledad. So his child can be properly educated, Jose has a school built. He even provides the first teacher to the tribe, named Timbangkaya. Lunig is fascinated by Timbangkaya's intelligence. She desires him. Using her spell, she enthralls Timbangkaya to become her lover. Now, Lunig has two husbands. As Jose introduces rice to the tribe, Poisson is envious of the power of Lunig's husband. He wants to hunt the Dongon, since it protects the enchanted forest. With the beast out of the way, he can transform it into a rice field. If the Christian can provide rice from the outside, Poisson can provide it within the land. But the Dongon cannot be seen. Poisson wonders how he can aim his poison dart at an invisible enemy. Poisson asks his mother, Abeta, the way to kill the Dongon. She reveals that she controls only one mythical beast, the unnamed albino alligator. But the second wife, Nalin, has been bestowed the secret way to tame the Dongon by the Tungkol. Abeta also divulges that Nalin crawled like a dog just to become the Tungkol's second wife. Poisson tells his brother Buning of his plan. He also tells him what happened to his mother. Buning confronts his mother Nalin why she crawled the earth. Nalin explains that the Tungkol magically seduced her. In fact, she didn't want to be a second wife. but she was enthralled by his parimanis, the absolute beauty spell, and because of it, she followed his every footstep, making her crawl like an animal. Buning's hatred for his father is awakened because of the revelation of this magical rape. He asks his mother the way to tame the Dongon. Nalin reveals that the only way to do this is to get the Lumpatpagar flower that can only be found at the peaks of the Mountains of Forgetting. Its scent will make the Dongon stop on its tracks. Sadya, on the other hand, as a child, is envious of Lunig's daughter Soledad as she goes to school. One afternoon, she plays with her and finds a way to make her swim the enchanted lake where fresh and salt waters meet. There, the golden turtle appears every sunset. Blinded by its glare, Soledad almost drowns. Sadya suddenly realizes what she has done and saves her from drowning. Because of this guilt, she leaves and tries to cross the great sandbars. There, she meets the exiled Majiling, who has been living in the sands, alone all these years. She's almost not recognized by her own sister, for she is much younger than she is, until Sadya begins a beautiful chant about the love of two sisters. As the brothers climb the mountain of forgetting, they devise a plan. Buning will stay at the foot of the mountain so he can remind Poisson who he is, since Poisson might forget when he reaches the peak. When Poisson does reach the peak, he sees his father and his grandfather, but neither remember who he is. There, Poisson confronts his father. He asks why Rampang did not choose him to be the sole heir of all his magic. His father, not knowing who he is, says his eldest son is not worthy to be a tungkol. Rampang says Poisson is far too greedy, while his younger son, Buning, is too weak of will. As Poisson almost forgets who he is, Buning calls his name from the foot of the mountain. He uses his blowgun to shoot the Lumpatpagar flower down to Buning. Then he descends the mountain, the memory of his unworthiness tasting like ash all the way down. As the two younger sisters, Sadya and Majiling, cross Gusong-Gusong, the great sandbars, they meet a man. The man is Ramis, who lives in the huts in the middle of the sea. Ramis reveals that they have built houses and rafts to survive from the coming deluge, the Tungkul's premonition. In one of these huts, they meet a group of men who are surveyors from the government who claim that they are there to survey the islands for the people. As the men get drunk, they don't mind the young child, Sadya. She serves them as they dine. Sadya overhears that they are surveying the land so that the government can claim it as its own. Because of the men with the radio, she also hears that the dictator has declared martial law. The president now has absolute power over the country. Sadya tells Majiling about this plot to take their islands. Majiling tells this to Ramis. This angers Ramis and he confronts the surveyors. The surveyors leave on their boats, hurling threats of a return with force as they retreat. The sisters, in fear, decide to tell their brother Poisson, for he has the only weapon that can protect the tribe. When low tide comes, the sisters cross the great sandbars again. The sisters reach their brothers on the shore, but they do not listen to them, for they are in a hurry to go to the enchanted forest where they will hunt the Dongon. The two sisters decide to tell their eldest sister, Lunig, instead. In Lunig's hut, as Majiling waits below, Sadya discovers two men are lying beside Lunig as she sleeps. Sadya confronts Lunig about her two husbands and how she enchanted them. Did either of them really love her? Sadya feels she could have loved Jose herself if Lunig hadn't seen him first. Lunig feels that if the men in her tribe can have two wives, then why can't she have two husbands? The sisters wonder at the value of true love when magic is put in the equation. Sadya leaves Lunig to think about this and goes to Majiling, waiting below the hut to look for their mothers. Meanwhile, the brothers Poisson and Buning hunt the Dongon. Buning waits with a lumpat pagar flower as the bamboo groves open for the unseen beast. Poisson sees a giant footstep in front of Buning. The Dongon lies still. Poisson kills the beast. He starts to burn the forest. Buning feels guilt at their foul deed. The Tungkol from the top of the mountains of forgetting sees the fire from the forest. He descends the mountain to see where the fire is coming from. Lunig decides to reveal her true self to her two lovers. Jose is angered by this. As a Christian, he cannot accept what she has done to him. He leaves with his daughter Soledad. Timbankaya, the teacher, accepts Lunig. Now Lunig fears the consequences of her magical seduction. Her ancestors promised that their descendants shall never leave the islands. She goes to the burning forest and searches for her sisters. Poisson decides to hunt down the other beasts of legend, the albino alligator and the golden turtle, so that there won't be magical creatures to protect the land anymore. The brothers go to the cave of the albino alligator. Poisson goes in alone and leaves the rest of his poison darts with Buning. Buning, guilty of what he has done with his brother, runs away with a case of the poison darts. Poisson successfully kills the white beast, but thereafter discovers his brother has abandoned him. Poisson now hunts Buning for vengeance. The two sisters Sadya and Majiling and their two mothers, Abeta and Nalin, see the burning enchanted forest and decide to investigate. The Tungkol also reaches the forest and sees the remains of the Dongon's giant bones. He cries out and a hard rain falls. This is the beginning of the deluge, the Tungkol declares. His two wives and his three daughters see him. He doesn't recognize them. Sadya, to make her father remember, chants and becomes herself in all her ages till she becomes a baby. Her father carries her as a baby and remembers who he is. She becomes an adult once again. The two wives realize that their sons are responsible for this, and they go towards the cave of the albino alligator. When they reach the cave, they discover the hide of the white alligator on its walls. Abeta cries out, for she is the only one who can touch this mythical beast. This makes the Tungkol mad, for the albino alligator magically protects the land from outsiders, and now they are open to the outside world. The Tungkol falls to the ground and crawls like a dog. Nalin, seeing this, feels she has succeeded with her revenge, for the Tungkol has now crawled like her when he magically raped her. But she also feels great guilt, for she has realized that she has learned to love the Tungkol. Abeta forgives her for what she has done and reveals that it was her who chose Nalin to be his second wife. The Tungkol runs out of the cage enraged and ready to strike. In the shore, he sees his son Buning, untouched by the rain, being hunted by his brother Pasan, who still has one of the deadly darts. Majiling runs in a sandbar and forgets to say the secret name of the stonefish and steps on one. Lunig is in between her brothers trying to stop Pasan. Buning threatens to throw all the darts in the sea. Pasan angrily confronts his father for not choosing him to be the tungkol. Sadya with the two mothers feel helpless till Nalin and Abeta realize what she can do. As Buning throws the darts to the sea and Pasan is about to blow the dart from his blowgun that can kill all his family, Sadya throws her magic in the air. The tungkol's children become babies. The tungkol gets the seppuku banar and breaks the blowgun in two. He hears the cries of his children now transformed into babies. He remembers his dream. His two wives carry their babies. Suddenly, the sound of a great wind is heard and a great wave from this wind ensues. Is this the deluge from his dream? The tungkol wonders. He looks at the sea, expecting a great wave. Instead, helicopters arrive, with squads of military men laying down the assault for the possession of the islands. The two wives undo the spell of the Dua Bata Bata. The 5 children are back to their adulthood. The tungkol is not there. He is having a meeting with the general with the other chieftains of the islands. Pasan with an ordinary blowgun goes to the makeshift barracks, hides in a tree, and eavesdrops on the meeting. The general tells the tungkol that they must accept the money to leave the islands, whether they like it or not. The military aim their guns at the tribal leaders. Pasan does not know who to aim his blowgun at. He regrets not having the blowgun that can kill a lot of men with one dart. He aims at his father out of hate. The tungkol tells the general he will give them the islands if he can answer one question. The general agrees. The tungkol asks, "If you are eating a great meal and your children are below your hut, what would you do?" The general says he will feed them, give them their share. The tungkol says, "That is why I cannot give you these islands. Palawan is not just a land, but a people. This land is for its children." The general is silent. Pasan puts down his aim and cries in silence. We then see the whole family carrying their possessions in their exodus of the islands. Soldiers pour down to the shore and take up their positions. Before the tungkol's family reaches their boats, the sisters cry, run to the forest and embrace the coconut trees, the same trees that their ancestors planted. The brothers are powerless. They too break down. Everyone else follows the sisters and embraces the trees. A cacophony of tragic cries and a deluge of emotions is heard as the people mourn the loss of their homeland. The former tungkol regards the sea. He realizes his dream has come true. In its fruition, he expects a big wave. There's none.